I hear allegations of misconduct, any misconduct, whether it's allegations of VA staff covering up long wait times or cooking the books, I will not stand for it. Not as Commander-in-Chief, but also not as an American. None of us should. So, if these allegations prove to be true, it is dishonorable, it is disgraceful, and I will not tolerate it, period.
Good morning, Boston. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. It's 6:06 here on the great WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2. A lot to talk about today. Yesterday, after over 3 weeks since the scandal first erupted at the Veterans Affairs Administration at the VA, their leader, Finally, there was a sighting of the dear leader, and he spoke out about what he sees at the problems at the VA. Of course, he's upset. He's angry. This is disgraceful. This is dishonorable, and the dear leader is going to get to the bottom of it. Before I get to this, and there's many, many other stories, trust me, you really don't want to touch the dial today. It's jam-packed. A reminder, this Saturday, May 24th, from 2 to 4 p.m., we'll be holding a major rally for Justina Pelletier. I will be there. The family of Justina will be there. We'll try to get some state representatives to show up. We're hoping to get a lot of people to come. My friends, this is Justina's 16th birthday this Saturday. That's why we're holding the rally on that day. This poor girl is dying. She has been kidnapped by DCF in this state, effectively. She is slowly withering away. We now have a chance to make a statement and free this girl. Have her come home to where she belongs with her family and with her loved ones, and not being held in some bogus psychiatric facility because the people at Boston Children's Hospital don't want to admit they made a mistake when they misdiagnosed that poor girl. And I'm calling on everybody to show up. And the reason is simple. There are serious problems in this state. In fact, in the second hour, there's been now another major incident at DCF. This time they've covered up the alleged sexual assault and rape of a 9-year-old boy in Walpole. It just doesn't end. Now they may end up killing this poor teenage girl. And I don't want to hear people complain to me about how bad things are in this state, how out of control things are in this state, if people aren't willing to lift a finger to do anything about it. And it's about time that we held DCF, HHA Secretary Polanowitz, and at the top, Mini-Me, accountable for everything what's going on in this state. Our children are dropping like flies. They're missing, they're dead, they're being raped, they're being assaulted. And it's about time we said, enough is enough. That could be your child. That could be your son or your daughter. And so please, I need as many of you to show up this Saturday. We have to send a powerful, resounding message to the corrupt Democratic regime in this state and the people at DCF and in the highest reaches of government. This is our line in the sand. Hands off our kids. So the rally, as I said, will be held this Saturday, 2 days from today, at the steps of the State House from 2 to 4 p.m. I will be speaking. We're going to hope to get Lou Pelletier, the father. He says he's going to come. He'll be speaking. We'll see if other family members can attend. I need many of you to show up. Trust me when I tell you this. The people in the Democratic Party and at DCF and in Mini-Me's office are petrified of this rally. If we show big numbers, we can show that the people of this state are fed up, we can make a positive difference, but I need all of you to go and show up. So please, this Saturday, take a few hours, go down to Boston, join me at the steps of the State House. It starts at 2 o'clock. I need as many of you from Kuhner country as possible. Back to the story. So, clearly now, the dear leader is feeling the heat. This scandal is hurting him. It's hurting his credibility. It's affecting veterans. And now the story, like a cancer, this scandal, like a cancer, is spreading all across the country. The investigators at the Veterans Affairs Administration, the independent investigators, have now essentially conceded that they are now, the Inspector General's office has conceded that they are now looking at 26 facilities nationwide, where they now are convinced that there were secret waiting lists, where vets were deliberately put in a waiting list, in a long line, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, sometimes even up to a year, which could have led to many of their deaths or suicides. The epicenter is in Phoenix, where because of these long wait lines, which were deliberately covered up by the administrators at the VA hospital there, 40 veterans died. But now we're finding out that other veterans have been sitting in line waiting for months and months to get care and treatment, many of them dying or committing suicide. In Florida, in Colorado, in Missouri, in Pennsylvania, in Texas, in state after state after state, in facility after facility after facility. This even has many Democrats livid up on Capitol Hill. And the reason is this. The military is still one of the few institutions left in the United States that is revered by the American people. When they hear stories about vets waiting, languishing in lines for months and months on end, veterans committing suicide because they're not getting treatment, veterans dying because they're not getting treatment, this is a scandal that can blow up and destroy the Obama administration and destroy the Obama regime and the credibility of the Democratic Party. And so now you have Democrats up on Capitol Hill saying, where's Obama? Where's the dear leader? Every day there's another scandal coming out of the VA. Every day. It's a scandal a day now. And as this has gone on from 1 week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks, 23 days elapsed. Obviously, he doesn't care. And so the dear leader yesterday finally held a press conference. He held a presser. And what I find incredible is there he is holding a press conference, and he's acting as if he hasn't been president for the last 5.5 years. There he is. This is unacceptable. This is intolerable. I'm going to hold people accountable. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. We have internal probes. We have internal investigations. Blah, 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 blah. BS, 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 BS. Here is the dear leader saying, again, this one also he found out from the news. This is another one. I just got up, I turned on CNN, and this is happening in my own VA. I'm shocked. I can't believe it. Here is the dear leader saying, darn it. I mean, even though I've been president now for 5.5 years, and I pledged from the very beginning I was going to help clean up the VA. In fact, he used that very issue to use it as a stick to beat George Bush relentlessly into 2007, 2008 when he was running for president. He was the man that was going to give top-notch care to the VA. 5.5 years into his presidency. Guys had almost 6 years. I'm shocked, and I'm mad as hell. And nobody's madder than me, the dear leader. Roll it, Britain.
It's inexcusable, and Americans are right to be angry about it, and I am angry about it.
Yeah.
Nobody's madder than me about the fact that the website isn't working.
It's very upsetting to me that somebody showed such bad judgment.
That's his shtick on everything. That on Obamacare, when there was failing after failing, the launch was a failure, the website was a failure. I'm shocked. I'm so upset. He knew about it for months. He gave the order to launch the website. Now, my former paper, the Washington Times, by the way, same thing with the IRS. Did you notice when it came to the IRS, this is outrageous. You can't be targeting Americans. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm so upset. I'm so mad. Nothing. He's playing us for fools. It was more phony outrage from the phony con man in chief. So on the IRS, we were going to get to the bottom of it. Nothing. Obamacare, outraged. I just learned about it on the news. Nothing. Same thing now with the VA. This is dishonorable. This is disgraceful. I'm outraged. Excuse me, Mr. President, dear leader. A memo. This is a flash, news flash. Who the hell's been president for the last 5.5 years?
When I came into office, I said we would systematically work to fix these problems, and we have been working really hard to address them. I want specific recommendations on how VA can up their game. Some of the problems with respect to how veterans are able to access the benefits that they've earned, that's not a new issue. That's an issue that I was working on when I was running for the United States Senate. We are going to fix whatever is wrong, and so long as I have the privilege of serving as Commander-in-Chief, I'm going to keep on fighting to deliver the care and the benefits and the opportunities that your families deserve.
Notice he's trying to pass the buck. This has been going on for decades. This was under George Bush. It's almost as if he's not president. It's almost like, I want them to up their game. No, I want you to up your game, genius. Why don't you, notice with this guy. Everything is everybody else's fault. Everything. Nothing is ever his fault. The economy's not his fault. Healthcare's not his fault. The deficit's not his fault. Benghazi's not his fault. The IRS is not his fault. Nothing is this guy's fault. Nothing. Now the VA, they're going to up their game. No, why don't you up your game, you loser? That's all this guy does. You have veterans dying. I'm not talking about, some money was misappropriated, some money was misallocated, there was a bit of a financial scandal. We're not talking about, some bureaucrats lining their pockets. Monday is Memorial Day. Coming up this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. I met some of those troops on Monday, those disabled veterans that we're going to be honoring this weekend and on Monday. Some of them that I met landed on the beaches in Normandy to liberate Europe from Nazi occupation. Others, like Lou, now 88 years of age, fought in the jungles of Okinawa, fought in the jungles of the Pacific for 4 long, hard years. He said, most of my friends and comrades, they never made it back. People who served in the jungles of Vietnam, they didn't ask to fight. They were drafted and ordered to fight. Our boys and women, our boys and girls in Iraq and in Afghanistan, many of whom coming back maimed and crippled, traumatic brain injury, severe PTSD. Many of them, their lives crushed and destroyed forever. And now, when they need their country the most, when they gave everything for us, when we, and no one gets off on this, when the Republicans and the Democrats sent them off to war in Afghanistan, when the Republicans, and yes, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and the Democrats sent them off to war in Iraq, when we told them to go fight for our country, and now they come back needing us, and we turn our backs on them? Like dogs? We stick them on secret waiting lists? And they have to wait 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months, day after day, week after week, where administrators are cooking the books. And like in Phoenix, the person that oversaw the hospital where 40 veterans died waiting for care, he gave himself an $8,500 bonus. They're giving themselves bonuses. And the dear leader comes out, the President of the United States, I want them to up their game. No, Mr. President. This happened under your watch. And you knew about this because the Bush people, in fact, informed you about it when you were sworn into office. The Washington Times broke that story. So knew about this for 5.5 years, and you did nothing. My friends, it's time for Shinseki to go. It's time for people at the VA to go. And it's time this president held accountable. Do you agree? Disagree? 617-266-6868. What did you make of Obama's press conference? And does he bear responsibility for our veterans dying and dropping like flies? All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 625 here on the great WRKO, 617-266-6868. Don't forget, this Saturday, 2 o'clock at the steps of the State House, a free Justina Pelletier rally. I will be there, sponsored by the Kuhner Report. I need all of you to show up. Please, if you can, make the time. Join me at the state capitol on Saturday, 2 p.m., 617-266-6868. Kevin, you're up first. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning.
Good morning.
What really got me so appalled is for Barack to get up there finally when I see him say that if anybody is caught manipulating the numbers, hiding the facts, okay, and we look, though, at him, at every department of this administration manipulating the numbers, the labor reports, unemployment, it just makes me sick. And I go back to every weekend throughout the winter months, John McCain, if he wasn't flying here to there, and he always utilizes the veterans. Are you telling me that the senators, and this even goes for Ted Cruz, which I admire, and the congressional reps representing Arizona to Washington where this story broke, were not getting phone calls? And this is why they're so disconnected to their home grounds where their constituents are, and of all our veterans.
Kevin, it's appalling. And Kevin, here's my suspicion. Many of these veterans, and this is a fact, are overwhelmingly Republican, they're overwhelmingly Christian, and they're overwhelmingly conservative. And I think there's a culture at the VA that says, the hell with them. Blank you. And so they've been covering up the deaths and the long waiting lists now at the VA. It's been covered up in facility after facility. There's no way Shinseki didn't know about this. There's no way his underlings didn't know about this. And there's no way the dear leader didn't know about this. In fact, you could have seen it. You saw it yesterday in his press conference. Where was the outrage? In fact, all he kept doing was trying to sell us how great things are under his leadership at the VA. Waiting times are down, money is up, funding is up, we've done everything to help the veterans. All he wanted to do was protect himself politically. That's what the entire speech yesterday was, PR control and spin. That's what that was yesterday.
We don't hear anybody making the connection, okay, in mainstream media, that the VA is Obamacare. It's the same thing. It's a government program. And for the commander-in-chief that always utilizes when his numbers go down, even Michelle does this, okay, out come the medals. Okay, we need to honor our veterans. And it is so pretentious. It kills me. All right, every time when his numbers are down, he's calling in the veterans.
Kevin, thank you so much. And you're right. Look, Michelle Obama, big supporter of the veterans. Apparently for Marxist Michelle, Okay, Marxist Muchel, Joe Biden, his wife Jill Biden. That's all they've been talking about are the veterans outside of losing weight. That's all they've been talking about is the veterans for the last 5.5 years. Are they seriously trying to tell us that they had no idea this was going on? People dying, people dropping like flies, people waiting for 6-9 months to even get any kind of care? No, my friends, they knew. Now they're all feigning outrage, pretending to be upset because now this scandal is blowing up right in their face. Because for the last 5.5 years, like Benghazi, like Fast and Furious, like the IRS, cover up, sweep under the rug. Coming up next, I want you to hear a Democratic Congressman, David Scott from Georgia, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, just unload on the dear leader on this issue. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. 6:30 on the Great RKO. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom.
Where the Washington Post has accurately reported that 40 of our soldiers lost their lives, died because they couldn't get service. Our veterans are the heart and soul of this country. They are precious. And we must not turn our back upon them. I listened to the president today, and I was very disappointed with President Obama today. There was no urgency. Mr. President, we need urgency. We need you to roll up our sleeves and get into these hospitals. We need you to set a pattern if the VA hospitals can't handle it. Let's give partnerships. Could I get another minute? Let's give partnerships with some of the Republicans and the other public hospitals. The gentleman's time has expired.
Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 6:37 here on the Great WRKO. Can I get another minute? Brittany, can I get another minute, please? Can I get another minute? 617-266-6868. That was Representative David Scott. He's a Democratic congressman from Georgia. And he was hot. I mean white hot. Just red hot. Yesterday on the House floor, just unloaded on the Obama administration. And the reason why he's so upset is that in his district, in Georgia, there has now been basically an epidemic of soldiers committing suicide at the VA hospital. And members from the VA testified in front of a committee, a Veterans Affairs Committee that he was on, along with others, and when they asked him point blank, absolutely point blank, whether soldiers were taking their own lives at these VA hospitals, the VA official lied. And they have been lying about what's happening on our VA hospitals all across the country. And so Representative Congressman Scott yesterday said, you know what? It's time VA officials stopped lying. It's time people be held accountable. And it's time, at a minimum, that VA Secretary Eric Shinseki get fired. It's like Olga Rashay. It's like the DCF. How many bodies have to pile up? Seriously, how many people have to die before somebody gets fired in this administration? Here is Congressman David Scott, member of the Congressional Black Caucus, giving it to the dear leader and the VA with both barrels. Roll it, Brittany.
Problem is, the first person we need to fire is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Mrs. Sandecki himself. Now, we respect him. We respect his sacrifice for this country and everything else, but the buck starts at the top. Here are the facts. 5,600 veterans are committing suicide every year. That's almost 20 every day. Under his watch, in my own hospital in Atlanta, 4 of our soldiers were committed suicide in the hospital. And the very Inspector General of the VA laid the blame directly at the foot of the VA administrations for the lack of management of the death of these soldiers. And when Chairman Miller and I went down and visited them, we asked, is there one more? Is there any more that has committed suicide? No, there's been no more. And they told a damn lie. Because the very next day it was exposed there was another soldier that committed suicide.
I mean, he was apoplectic. And I don't blame him. So there you have, soldiers are dying, soldiers are committing suicide, and the dear leader, they got to up their game. VA's got to up their game. I got full trust. By the way, it's not even Eric Shinseki, it's Rick Shinseki. They're such close buddies. It's Rick. I got Rick is my guy. I got a lot of confidence in Rick Shinseki. Now, I've told him, if we have another 100 dying, you may have to go. I think 100 may be the magic mark. That's the cutoff point. But until 100 die, don't worry, Rick, you're safe. 617-266-6868 is the number. Bruce, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Go ahead.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah, I found his little speech repulsive, to say the least. And I don't think these guys died under his watch, right under his nose. Over 600, Jeff, suicides in March alone. You can quote me on that number. And the more that die, the less money that they have to spend on us. They can spend it on illegals. And if they can do this to our veterans, what's in store for us down the road? I mean, come on, this is really, how can they hide this? Like you said, they can't sweep this under the rug, especially now when they got their own people coming right up, and especially Black Caucus guys who, like, they thought Obama was everything and a bowl of cherries, and they're finding out he's just rat poison to this country.
Bruce, you want to see how cynical, how corrupt this administration is? Okay, I want you to just listen to this, Bruce. If this doesn't make your blood boil, nothing else will. Just to show what a bunch of frauds they are. Okay, check this out. So the one guy, I've reported on this already. The one guy that's being made the scapegoat is this VA undersecretary official, okay? Robert Petzel. Petzel, as I reported, last September said, I'm going to retire. And they were already announcing his nominee, his replacement, a couple of weeks ago. So they pushed Petzel out, right? So Petzel is supposed to be the fall guy, but basically he was retiring anyway. But check this out. The woman who oversaw the Phoenix VA healthcare system, the one that oversaw those 40 soldiers dying at the VA hospital in Phoenix, her name is Sharon Hellman. Do you know she's now been put on leave? Okay, she's now been put on indefinite leave. But the person that they've hired, that they've appointed to replace Petzel, this guy, Jeff, hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, Morosky. He's a career VA bureaucrat. He's replacing Petzel.
Are you kidding me?
I swear. The guy that was her boss, the guy that oversaw her as she was overseeing all of these deaths in Phoenix, that's the person that they've picked to replace Petzel.
The devil would do a better job.
Basically, the guy that oversaw the 40 deaths in Phoenix is the guy they've picked to replace Petzel. Their leader stands up there and says, we're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm outraged. The very people responsible for the deaths in Phoenix have now been given a promotion.
Oh, yeah. And Petzel's probably going to get, he's going to retire, but they're going to give him another job in another faction.
Yeah, or they're going to just do what they did with Lerner, just give her a nice, give him a nice golden parachute. Nice benefits, dental, health care, $100,000+ a year. Bruce, he's going to be sipping tequilas in Cancun, Mexico.
And this is great for Memorial Day coming up. And I feel so bad for all these guys that are committing suicide or even contemplating it, because they gave it all for us. And look what I say that we're responsible too, because we're letting these people do this to our own soldiers, our heroes, our warriors.
Bruce, it's time we said enough is enough.
Enough's enough.
God bless you, my friend. Russ, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Obama said he wants to get to the bottom of it. You got to be kidding me. Under his leadership, the whole country is at the bottom. We should call him Quicksand Obama. We are stuck and sinking. And let's face it, the hacks and the bureaucracy come first over the veterans' care. Government care is substandard care. and it's coming to a hospital near you, thanks to Nancy Mussolini and Osama Obama Democrats.
The VA, this is what I find incredible about all these libs. Government cannot run health care for a small segment of our population, the veterans. How are they going to run it for all of us? Those waiting lists, those are the death panels. That's rationing of care. That's what government-run care gets you. So today, it's the vets. They are the guinea pigs. They're the lab rats for socialized medicine. But tomorrow, my friends, it's us. See, that was my mother up in Canada. That's what I was trying to, my grandmother up in Canada. That's what I was trying to warn everybody about during the Obamacare debate. You want to wait in line? You want to wait 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months and everybody pretending that people are getting care and they're cooking the books and secret waiting lists? That's England. That's Canada. That's wherever you have socialized health care. That's the VA. And soon, it's going to be us. Charlie, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO. Go ahead, Charlie.
Jeff, thanks for taking my call. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
As a veteran who finds occasion to go to the VA clinic, this makes my blood boil. To look at the administration now, to see a man who was commander-in-chief of our armed forces that has 5 years and has continued to allow this to happen just makes my blood boil. I mean, if you look at the statistics, there were more veterans committing suicide than were killed on a daily basis in Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, something needs to be done here. This guy is in left field without a glove. And just let me say this with Memorial Day coming up. If my memory serves me correct, during his first year in office, on Memorial Day, we have a commander-in-chief who failed to go to Arlington National Cemetery to place a wreath at the grave of the unknown soldier. Am I correct on this, Jeff?
Yes, Charlie. Yes. And Charlie, I don't want to pile on, but if you want to know the truth, I'll tell all of you the truth. This is a president who has cut the benefits of veterans. This is a president who turned his back on our boys in Benghazi. This is a president who has put such strict rules of engagement. Our boys are dropping like flies in Afghanistan. This is a president who has hollowed out our military. And he stands there yesterday with the chutzpah on him to stand there and say, oh, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I care about the troops. He doesn't give a damn about the troops. You know why he doesn't give a damn about the troops? Because they don't vote for him. And for him, everything is about getting votes.
You and I know this, Jeff. What needs to be recognized are these liberal Democrats who elected him and re-elected him to the office of the presidency. To know that this man is commander-in-chief and is in charge of this country. It is his responsibility to know. And he just can't come forward and say that he didn't know about this, he didn't know about that, and allow this to happen for 5 years. Something seriously has to be done here. And you brought up the issue of Benghazi. May I touch on that a moment?
Charlie, hang on. I got to go to a break. Can you hang on?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. I got to go. Let's take, just very quickly, I want all of you to think about this, okay? If no one else has the guts to say it, I'm going to say it. This occurred under his watch. He was told about this problem when he was transitioning into office by Bush's people. There has been report after report, memo after memo. The Washington Post reported on this. That they knew what was happening at VA hospitals. Shinseki covered it up. Obama covered it up. The VA covered it up. This president has American blood on his hands. The deaths of those veterans are squarely at the feet of the dear leader. And to all the liberals out there who supported him and voted for him and back him to this day, shame on you. Let's take it to Rush Limbaugh, Brittany. Welcome back to WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. This is a great text from 781. Jeff, the only person from the military that Obama stood by was the Muslim who shot and killed all those people at Fort Hood. Yes. And flashbang and speed bump. That's about it. There's the texts are just absolutely pouring in. This is from 508. Jeff, regarding Memorial Day at Arlington, do you realize how difficult it is to get a tea time? Oh, I forgot. The dear leader is too busy golfing. You have to understand, for the dear leader, Memorial Day weekend, it's another excuse to party. And there's no better way to party than to go and hit the links. Charlie, we held you over. You want to say a few more words about Benghazi? Shoot, my friend.
Yeah, I think this relates, and I thank you. Again, Benghazi, again, is a military issue involving veterans. Nancy Pelosi just assigned 5 Democrats to the committee, all of whom, according to the article in today's Herald, they're dismissive against this investigation. This needs to go to an independent investigator, I believe. When you leave 4 Americans who could have been saved alone to die, people who have served their country, who placed their life on the line simply because they love this country, something has to be said here, and I think that the silent majority needs to be silent no longer.
Bingo.
I think this is the last straw.
Bingo.
Benghazi, this needs to go forward. We need to know, and what happened, we need to know that the people in charge knew what was going on here and did nothing for our own. The least that this country can do is to protect those who protect us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Charlie, and thank you for your service, sir. Look, he said it best. The silent majority has to be silent no more. Whether it be on the VA, whether it be on Benghazi, and my friends, this Saturday, whether it be on the DCF and Justina Pelletier, I need you to show up this Saturday, 2 to 4 at the steps of the State House. We'll be holding a major rally to free Justina Pelletier. I hope all of you can make it. Next hour, don't touch that dial. I kid you not. Another VA scandal. This one in Miami. Ho, ho, ho. I don't even want to trust me. It's so outrageous. You have to hear it to believe it.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
We shout it and we proclaim it, and this causes people to lose their minds.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.
Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Hour 2, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 7:07 here on the great WRKO, AM 680, and now on 93.7 HD2, 617-266-6868. If you want to be part of the show, you can text us at 680-680. Here is another huge VA scandal that has just popped up in the last maybe 24 to 48 hours, and it's absolutely unbelievable. This time, it's in South Florida. So we've had it in Phoenix, Arizona. We've had it in Colorado. We've had it in Missouri, in Texas, in states all across the country. Thankfully, knock on wood, nothing so far here in Massachusetts or New England. Let's keep our fingers crossed. However, in Miami, this one is going to blow, it's going to blow your mind. All right, so let me set it up for you. There is now a whistleblower, a criminal investigator, basically a police officer, for the VA Police Department in South Florida. His name is Detective Thomas Fiore. He has been working at this VA hospital in South Florida really for years. And finally now, with the VA scandal erupting everywhere, he can no longer take what he says is the massive culture of cover-ups and bureaucratic neglect. And in particular, if you're driving on the car, hang on to the wheel, because this one blew my mind. On hospital grounds, according to Detective Tom Fiore, who's now a whistleblower, drug dealing. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just so outrageous. Drug dealing on the hospital grounds is a daily occurrence. He says that the VA, and not just one or two drug dealers, he says you've got drug dealing left, right, and center. He goes, they're dealing in prescription medications like OxyContin, Vicodin, Percocet, but he says it's not just the prescription stuff. There's marijuana, there's cocaine, there's heroin, there's meth. He goes, I've come across them all. He goes, this has been going on for years. They all congregate at the front of the hospital when it's a smoke break or whatever, and then they start dealing drugs. And then they go downstairs if they want to meet a drug dealer or whatever it is to either buy cocaine or heroin or sell cocaine or heroin. And he said, you've got drug dealers coming in and drug dealers coming out. And this has all been occurring right under the noses of VA officials. He says the whole hospital, all of the top staff, they know about it. And it gets even worse, if that's possible. When he said he wanted to investigate this, when he said he wanted to start arresting people, when he said he wanted to get law enforcement involved, they told him, "Niet. No. Here at the VA, we turned a blind eye to drug dealing." And in one particular case, he said, for example, they were raiding the VA pharmacy. And there were all kinds of discrepancies between what the pharmacy was supposed to have in stock and, of course, what they were dealing to the patients. And so when he called for an investigation, immediately the chief of staff who runs the hospital said, "Niet. It's verboten. It's forbidden to investigate discrepancies in OxyContin or Percocet or Vicodin here at the VA." And then came the case, the death of Nicholas Cutter, a 27-year-old Iraq veteran who suffered from severe PTSD. And he died of a major cocaine overdose inside Miami VA's drug rehab center. So here he is suffering from PTSD. Obviously now he's relying on cocaine to try to deal with it. And according to Detective Fiore, Cutter was someone who was known to everybody for not only having abused cocaine, snorting cocaine left, right, and center. He was always in the bathroom powdering his nose, as they say. But he also was smuggling it into the hospital. And VA superiors knew about it. And Fiore said, I reported this to my superiors weeks and weeks before Cutter's death. This guy's not only snorting up the stuff, he's selling it to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And they did nothing. In fact, according to Detective Fiore, the staff kept giving him pass after pass. They kept giving him these passes to leave the building where he would get the cocaine and then come back into the building where he would snort some of it or sell the rest of it. And so Detective Fiore said, look, this guy should be forced to stay at the facility, not just for his safety, so he can get cleaned up and confront his PTSD, he can get clean and sober, but for the safety of the other veterans, because he's coming back and he's dealing. They're suffering from traumatic brain injury, from PTSD, from anxiety disorder, and you're saying, hey, you want some of the white powder? It'll level off all the edge. You won't get those panic attacks if you snort some of this stuff. They let him out, back in, out, back in. And so finally, he dies of a drug overdose. Detective Fiore said, I immediately said, let's call the police. This is to him a crime scene. Cutter's room, Nicholas Cutter's room, should have been a crime scene. Instead, to cover it up, the staff didn't call the police. They didn't call law enforcement. They bagged Cutter's body up. They put him in a nice bag, and then they cleaned the room. So you could find no cocaine, and no heroin, and no OxyContin, and none of the other drugs. And so only 2 days later were people made aware that Nicholas Cutter had died of a drug overdose. He then goes on to say that there are reports now that he's seen of abuse within the VA hospital. That he's seen patients with marks all over their bodies. that some of these people are so stoned and so out of control that they're abusing other veterans who are there for treatment. And yet no arrests have been made. The VA staff refuses to confront the problem. They are deliberately turning a blind eye. And all they do is what they're doing now, we're finding out in VA hospitals in state after state after state. They're giving themselves glowing performance reviews and bonuses. Everybody at the VA is giving himself a bonus. That's our money, by the way. Oh, yeah. Let me see here. Ooh, 4 died this week of suicide. Let me see. 2 of a drug overdose. I think I'm entitled to 10,500. My performance, absolutely phenomenal. Should put me on the path to early retirement with extra benefits. Here is a news package out of Miami, which documents whistleblower detective Tom Fiore's stunning allegations of drug dealing, drug abuse, physical abuse, theft taking place at the VA hospital in Miami. Roll it, Brittany.
Fiore said Cutter's death also revealed a much bigger issue, the drug dealing that takes place just about every day on hospital grounds.
And what kind of drugs are we talking about?
Oxycontin, Vicodin, Percocet, things along those lines. Marijuana, cocaine, heroin. I've come across them all.
He said most of the drug dealing takes place in front of the hospital's main entrance, as patients, staff, and outsiders mill about in the areas designated for smoking.
I had brought up a plan to bring in somebody from a different facility, basically go undercover into this program, or into this area at least.
So you come up with this plan to introduce an undercover, and what happens?
I'm still waiting, and it's been a couple years now.
Fiore says he's also been prevented from investigating missing prescription drugs from the hospital's pharmacy.
I was instructed that I was to stop.
Who instructed you to do that?
The chief of staff.
The problems weren't just limited to drugs. Fiore said VA administrators didn't want him investigating any crimes that might reflect poorly on those in charge.
I mean, now, I'm telling you that this is symptomatic of other VA hospitals, not all, obviously, but of many VA hospitals across the country. Obama administration officials themselves admit, they're looking at 26 hospitals where they say rampant abuse is taking place. And Fiore said, guess what happened? I wanted to speak out. I'm a whistleblower. Now they've threatened to destroy my career. That they will do anything to cover up the truth and cover up their perks, power, and privileges. My friends, this president is turning this country into a thugocracy. This is becoming a thug state. Journalists are being spied on. The NSA is listening in our phone calls. Whistleblowers are now being targeted. Conservatives are now being targeted by the IRS. You have cover-up after cover-up after cover-up in agency after agency after agency. This man is turning this country into a dictatorship. And notice, look at the climate. Intimidate. Lie. Cover up. Sweep it under the rug. Sweep, sweep, sweep. These are our veterans. These people need help. They're almost turning that VA hospital in Miami into a crack house. They're dealing right there. They're dealing drugs right there. According to Fiore, they're dealing drugs right there on the grounds, hospital grounds, in front of everybody to see. And nothing happens? Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets held accountable. Nobody gets arrested. Then you got people committing suicide. You got people dying of drug overdoses. Nothing happens. Nobody asks any questions. And then finally, and then I'll open it up to the phone lines. According to Fiore, and this I'm not surprised, apparently a lot of our tax money goes to these VA hospitals. That $2.5 to $3.5 million was deliberately earmarked and allocated for security. You know, more security officers, more cameras, you name it. No cameras have been installed. No more security officers have been hired. Literally, the money is gone. It's gone. It's just, people are asking what happened to the $3 million have just disappeared. Now, I'm asking myself, did they snort all that up their nose? Did they buy that for some candy, some snow candy, and they snorted it all up their nose? Because $3 million has just disappeared. It's gone. This is the mother of all corruption scandals. And the dear leader can stand there and pretend. Notice, he acts like he's some bypasser, like some interested observer. That he's just like, this is happening all around him, and I didn't know. I don't know. I turn on the television, and suddenly, oh my God, all this is going on at the VA. I'm shocked. You know, it reminds me of that scene in Casablanca. You know that famous scene in Casablanca where you have that French collaborator officer, and they're at that club, and he goes, "There's gambling going on in these gambling? I'm shocked. No, there's gambling. No, I had no idea." He's playing us for a fool. And so now, my friends, it comes down to this. And this is the only choice left for the radical progressives, the Obama cult of personality fanatics that still want to follow this president right off a cliff. Either, now, because it's now 5.5 years into his presidency, either he is the most incompetent president to ever occupy the White House, who doesn't know anything what's going on, doesn't know about the IRS, didn't know about Benghazi, didn't know about the Obamacare website, didn't know about Fast and Furious, didn't know about the VA scandal. Apparently he learns everything through the news, through cable television. Or he's a compulsive, pathological liar. Take your pick. Either he's the most incompetent man we've ever had in the Oval Office, or he's the most corrupt man we've ever had in the Oval Office. Either way, he must go. 617-266-6868. The VA scandal. To the veterans out there, are you shocked at this? Are you surprised? Drug dealing going on at the VA in Miami, allegedly. What do you make of this? Is it time for heads to roll? All of your calls next. 617-266-6868, 722 on RKO.
Everybody is to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once. How can you close me up? On what ground? I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here. You're winning, sir. Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
I'm shocked that the scandal at the VA, waiting lists, cooking the books, secret lists, people dying, people committing. I found out about it. I said, darn it, we gotta get to, hey, they gotta up their game. We gotta get to the bottom of this. I'm the dear leader. 617-266-6868, 727. Steve, you're up on WRKO. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Steve.
Jeff, listen, we got veterans living, homeless veterans, and we got illegal immigrants living in public housing. Listen, I have a solution for this, and maybe the president, somebody can call the president. Why don't we take all the VA hospitals and turn those into Obamacare hospitals and let the deadbeats and the lowlights and the losers and the welfare recipients go there and give our veterans, as soon as they get out of the military, they get a gold card with their picture on it, and they can go to any hospital in this country. Walk in right off the street, no appointment, and they're the first ones to be taken. That's the way it should run, Jeff. They should be getting the best care, and the illegal immigrants should be going to the veterans hospitals.
Bingo. Steve, honestly, you nailed it. You see, instead, it's the opposite. Illegals get the best care. Illegals get to the front of the line. Hell, they even get an EBT card. They get everything. They even throw in an Obama phone. But if you're a guy who sacrificed for his country, or a woman that sacrificed for this country, you gotta wait 10 months. You're lucky if somebody even sees you. Bill, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Bill.
I agree with Steve, and I do think that that's the solution. Take your VA card, go down to your local hospital, and get treatment. I don't know why there isn't widespread support for that. But you're actually downplaying this problem. It's actually much bigger than you're making it out to be. Do you know where the term red tape comes from?
Go ahead, Bill. Tell me. I don't know.
Civil War veterans in the 1870s had to travel to Washington, D.C. to collect their veterans' benefits. The books where the names were listed were bound in red tape. So this has been going on for, 100 years. They're veterans fighting to get the benefits that they were promised. My own personal grandfather was a World War I veteran. I can remember my father fighting to get his benefits in 1967. So I understand that the politics of the moment play into it, and I'm perfectly comfortable laying the solution at the feet of the current sort of political group. But the problem is much bigger than that.
Yeah, but Bill, it's never been this bad.
It's always been this bad.
No, that's spin. That's Democratic spin.
No, it's not spin.
No, I'll tell you this.
Honest truth.
No, I'll tell you, because it's a fact. In the 50s and 60s, I'm not saying there weren't problems with the VA. Of course there were problems with the VA. But you never heard of this, where people were waiting for nearly a year to get treatment, where they were cooking the books, where you had secret waiting lists, where you had people dying left, right, and center.
Talk to some Vietnam-era veterans.
Oh, that was later. That was in Vietnam. But even then, I'll be honest with you. No, but even then, Vietnam was in the late 60s, early 70s. Even then, let's be honest, that's because many of the anti-war left, led by people like John Kerry, were calling them baby killers. And they were when they came home, they were spat on and told they were basically child murderers and killers.
Again, let's try not to get bogged down in the politics.
It's not trying to get bogged down into the politics. No, look.
Focus on the solution.
Listen, I've already given the solution many times. The fact of the matter is, this is what you Democrats and you liberals do. Whenever there's a scandal,
I'm a twin voter.
Whenever there's a scandal, you try to. Now we're going back 150 years. Now, we're going to go back to the Revolutionary War? The fact of the matter is, you have an epidemic of corruption in VA hospitals. Because you know why? Who insisted on the 14-day waiting list? Do you know, Bill? Tell me who.
No, I don't.
Their leader. It was Obama. That was his mandate. That they only could wait 14 days and not a day more. So everybody said, but we're not hitting the 14 days, so let's put on the secret waiting lists. So let me ask you this. When he was informed by the Bush transition team in 2008 of these problems occurring in VA hospitals, he's had 5.5 years to fix it. He's done absolutely nothing. How come you won't blame him for this?
That's fair. I do blame him for that. I do blame him for the lack of a solution.
So why isn't he firing people? No, not lack of a solution. He's done nothing and, in fact, covered it up and lied for the last 5.5 years.
Well, that is the lack of a solution. But you're downplaying it. You're downplaying it and saying that
I'm not downplaying anything. I'm not downplaying anything. Look,
it's
Bill.
Much bigger than what you're making it out to be.
Bill, listen. Look, if you want, read William O'Neill, American High. I can cite to you many books. Veterans after World War II in the 40s, 50s, and 60s had very good health care. Not that there weren't some problems, but they weren't dropping like flies. So don't stand in the 80s and in the 90s, it was better. And then it got worse again because we had two major wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The fact of the matter is, don't go back 150 years to bail this guy out.
I'm not bailing him out.
People are dying under his watch. He's to blame. And it's about, at a minimum, fire Eric Shinseki. At a minimum, he should take responsibility. Hold on, Bill. Hold on. I want Comrade John wants to have a discussion with you. Comrade, how you are? What you want to say to Bill? Comrade.
Bill, you got to stop blaming your little brother for everything that happens in the House, okay? It's who's in office now. It's not one thing this president has avoided and denied and pretends like it doesn't exist. There's multiple counts of his inability to run this country. And I have the best solution. We all take a day, we all march on Washington, and we all demand this bum gets out, because we can't afford to wait a year or two for him to get impeached after he's out of office. This is your country too, Bill. And when it goes down, guess what? You're not going to be able to open your mouth either.
What do you think of my solution? Veterans take their VA card, go down to their
first of all,
hospital and get their service. Is there any support for that out there?
Bill, I think I said that 3 days ago. So to be honest with you, I've been saying that for a while. Have them join the private healthcare system. What have you Democrats done? You've created a VA system for the whole country through Obamacare. That's been your solution. 617-266-6868. Now they're blaming the Civil War.
He says millions of dollars of equipment goes missing or is stolen every year at the Miami VA.
And we're talking government property. We're talking about things that the taxpayers are buying.
Fiore, a vet himself who served 4 years in the Marine Corps, knows he's taking a risk by speaking out.
Am I scared? Absolutely.
What are you scared of?
Retaliation. I can't begin to explain to you how retaliation works within just the Miami VA. They don't like people that want to air their dirty laundry.
Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 740 here on the great WRKO. Hat tip to CBS Miami. They're the ones who had the guts to air this story. Detective Tom Fiore, who is a VA police officer, he works for the VA Police Department in South Florida, has now blown the whistle. I mean, blown the lid sky high, says there is rampant drug dealing being done at the VA hospital in Miami. OxyContin, Vicodin, Percocet, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, meth, you name it. It's a drug dealer's delight. It's an addict's delight. He says that there's abuse taking place. Vets are being beat up on. Some are committing suicide. There have been drug overdoses. All of this is being covered up and hushed up and cleaned up by the vet. And about $3 million that was supposed to go for security, enhanced, bolstered security. The money is just, it's gone. The $3 million, but that's our money, by the way. That's the money you sent to Washington. Our taxes. It's gone. He doesn't know what happened to the money. He thinks somebody pocketed the money. I think it went up somebody's nose, but that's just me. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can text us at 680-680. This is from 508, and I think has really nailed the liberal mentality. This is how progressives think. Jeff, why is it that libs fight for people to be fired when they learn of someone donating to causes they disagree with? Anti-gay agenda, pro-life, etc., but don't think it's reasonable for people to lose their job when people die. Die is in all caps. 508, to me, you've got veterans dropping like flies, dying left, right, and center. And the president takes 3 weeks under his watch, his VA, his administration, and nobody gets fired. Told you, it's like DCF. It's like mini-me. Cover up, cover up, cover up. Nobody's held accountable. You would think the dear, honestly, you would think the dear leader, the way he acts is like, I don't know, he's a small business owner or something. There he is. He's a dog catcher. I'm shocked. I just found out. I'm shocked. I can't believe this is happening. 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Sly, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I agree with that last thing you just said. You know, a couple things. First off, if an oil truck was driving down the road right now today and hit a bump in the road and sprung a leak and put oil all over the road, these liberals would be demanding that the CEO of that company lost his job, maybe went to jail. Remember what happened with that Gulf oil spill, okay? They want to go nuts. If a private business makes a mistake, they want heads to roll, and they will not stop until they roll. But when it comes to a government bureaucracy, they make mistakes that cost lives, and the same liberals turn around and, hey, I don't see why anybody should be fired, you know? And, you know, that guy Bill that called up, he called up yesterday, he called up today, and he's telling you, well, you know, don't get lost in the politics. Are you kidding me, Bill? You sat there and concocted this whole story about the Civil War and all this stuff, and you really thought about it. You could tell you put some effort into that. just because you are wrapped up in the politics to try to save your precious Obama. The reason why the VA sucks, and it has always sucked, is because it is a government bureaucracy. These things don't happen in private hospitals, and when they do, when and if they do, heads roll.
Sly.
I mean,
Sly, if I may ask you, you're a veteran, correct?
That's correct.
Let me ask you, I mean, as a veteran, how do you feel? What are you thinking when you hear about all these horror stories? Suicides, deaths, waiting lists, VA officials cooking the books, drug dealing now taking place at some VA hospitals.
As a veteran, I feel like, I guess you know what? I guess I feel like anybody else with a brain in their head would feel. The VA does not exist to help the veterans. The VA is a bureaucracy that exists to sustain the bureaucracy. They would absolutely, they would absolutely throw veterans under the bus, and they don't matter at all. I've only dealt with the VA once, and I was not impressed, and I ran the other way. When I got out of the Army, I had a head injury, and I went there, and I was actually healed up at the time, and I was doing fine, but they sat there and they tried to talk me into basically lying and saying that I was permanently injured and that I should get 75% disability and all this stuff. They wanted me to fake it, and I was like, wow, you people are ridiculous, man. A government bureaucracy is always going to be horrible because they know that they can get away with it. They know heads will not roll.
Bingo.
And this is what scares me, because if we don't do something about this Obamacare,
that's
you
us.
watch it.
That's us.
20 years from now, absolutely. 20 years from now, you're going to watch the suicide rate of Americans, not just veterans. American suicide rate is going to go through the roof because people are not going to want to go nowhere near the hospitals. This is going to, what's going to happen is we're going to lose all of our really good doctors and medical people. They're going to get out of the industry, or they're going to get out of the country. And what's going to happen there? It's going to suck in all of the worst possible degenerate into those hospitals. And the type of people that you don't want poking around at your body, the type of people that you don't want making
life-death decisions over your health.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Sly, I gotta go, but listen, Sly, great call. Absolutely great call. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought I had to go. I can squeeze in one more caller? Okay, Carol, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Go ahead, Carol.
Yes, I find it outrageous and embarrassing what our pretender-in-chief pretends to be outraged about, and always promising to get to the bottom of things. I'm going to tell you, I've been fortunate to have, as a vet, good VA health care here, but I'm proactive. I demand things. Let me tell you, in the last year and a half, they triple book and quadruple book appointments. You're there much longer than your appointment time, waiting to be seen. But we still, in at least Massachusetts, have decent health care, and it's my only health care. But I'm concerned about where it's headed, and with the promises of this president, God help us for what's headed down the road.
Thank you for that call, Carol. That's my big fear as well. Here's a very good text from 508. Jeff, I work at the VA in Boston, and I'm also a veteran. I've never received a $10,000 bonus. I have received great care at the VA hospital in Massachusetts. 508, I hope it always stays like that. So far, we have not been scathed by the scandal. So far, knock on wood, here in Mass, or from what I've read in New England. But what I'm hearing in the rest of the country, it's bad. It's bad. And with Obamacare, that could be my mother. What happened to my mother or my grandmother, that could be us in 10, 15 years. That's why it's got to be repealed, root and branch. Brenda, you're up next on WRKO. Shoot, Brenda.
Jeff, thanks for devoting so much time to this very serious issue. I just wanted to comment on a line that gentleman from Miami had said, and I actually wrote it down as fast as I could. We wouldn't want it to reflect poorly on those who are in charge. I felt like somebody just kicked me in the gut, and I'm not a veteran. Because I thought to myself, well, of course not. We wouldn't want it to reflect poorly on those who are in charge, because this is all about taking care of each other. It's not about taking care of the people that we are put here to take care of. They don't get it. You know, you're in there to help take care of these veterans. Now, it's not about you. You know? I mean, I understand that we all need to make a living, but, you know, if you're called to go in to help these poor men and women, put yourself aside. But it's become such a racket. And then we've got, as Carol so aptly said, the pretender-in-chief, who has for 5.5 years used people. He'll use you and he'll throw you under the bus. And this feigned compassion, I've had it up to here. It's grotesque.
Thank you for that call, Brenda. 7:51 here on the great WRKO. My friends, I'm telling you, this VA scandal, the dear leader maybe met the one scandal he can't lie his way around. More with your calls next. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 7:56 here on the great WRKO. Here's a great text from 570. Jeff, 30-year vet. I've been going to the VA for 3 years now. The only thing the VA is good for is pushing pills, especially those having served in combat, and the pills they push are for PTSD, which have been proven to lead many to suicide. Listen, I'll tell you this. If you really want to get a lot of pills, they're pushing a hell of a lot of them out in Miami. Rick, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Go.
Jeff, in the words of Oliver North, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You go to Causeway Street. You don't need to go to Miami. They're giving them out like candy. And I'll tell you, I personally, want to thank you for your service. I know you're an ex-Marine. Is that correct, sir?
No, I'm an ex-Canadian, Rick.
Oh, Canadian. I thought one time you were going to call out Bill over by the Boston Globe, and he didn't show up. But anyway, what we have here is they want to sedate you. I am a veteran, honorably discharged, and I refuse to go back there because all they give you is pills, pills, pills. Now, I'm a drinker myself, and I'm trying to get sober and everything, but you know what? When you go down to Causeway Street, right by the Boston Garden, or, TD North, or whatever they're calling it these days, just take a look at the VA Medical Center, and you're going to see hands and hats, and everybody's, I don't know who's who in the zoo. I really don't care. They get the perks, they get the Vicodin, they get everything that they can possibly get, and then they exchange for heroin, and it's a nightmare.
Rick, I don't want to get too personal, Rick, but if I can ask you, are you a little, did you have a drink this morning?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking because Brittany says you sound a little tipsy this morning.
Well, I'm tipsy every morning because I'm disgusted with the VA system. I don't want their services. I don't want nothing from anybody. I am a veteran that, you know what, when I needed help, and I look at all these poor guys that are probably coming back with some serious, serious problems, and they're going to go in there. And all these little shrinks and psychologists and trauma experts and this one and that one, and then the poor families, put yourself in the predicament when you take your son or your daughter or your cousin or your brother and they say, we're going to go get you some help. And then, it's a sad part, and it's a reflection on society when the ultimate solution is these guys are killing themselves. 20 a day in the United States of America. I mean, I'm not do I sound tipsy to you?
No. I'm just trying to joke around a little bit. Listen, Rick, I want to thank you.
What? A sense of humor. Thank you, Jeff. I'll take your comments off the air. You're a good guy.
Rick, thank you so much, and thank you for your service, Rick. God bless you and your family. It really is tragic. I mean, so full of heroism and patriotism and bravery, and then to come back and commit suicide. It's a tragedy. Do I got another minute, Brittany? No? 2 seconds. Okay, I'm up against it. Coming up next, this one. Yes, you're not going to believe this scandal at the DCF. This one, it's like the VA. How many more kids before somebody starts getting fired?
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.